What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of Spoiler Alerts. I'm Chanmanv, and joined, of course, by Ellohime and Eat My Diction. What's up, guys?
Hello.
What's up?
What's up? So, today we are going to be talking about Preacher. And actually, we always give this little disclaimer beforehand. For those of you who've never watched this show, it's called Spoiler Alerts. So, we're going to be spoiling things today. And today we're going to be spoiling Preacher. Comic, more the TV show than the comic, but
Yeah.
I know Ellohime's seen. Actually, both of you guys have read the comic too. Not me though. So we'll probably be talking about the comic some too.
Read more comics, Chan. God.
I know, gosh, man.
Don't you have any culture? Don't you want to be like
Uncultured
well-read,
Uncultured.
a gentleman and a scholar? Don't you want all these things?
Nerd
How are you gonna
scholar.
get there if you don't educate yourself, Chan? Man,
Yeah, I
read
know.
some really quality material
I
called
know.
Preacher.
Like Preacher. Awesome.
What like I don't know. It's
Wow.
it's a weird position to be in actually for this episode. So let me explain a second. So Preacher is probably one of the main works of art that sort of shaped my late teens into my early adulthood. And it was a big deal in my group of friends that used to hang out at our comic book store. It was kind of like you're not ready for this. You have to be ready for this. And then after a certain amount of time, like a rite of passage, you were allowed to read Preacher after a certain
Told
amount
us
of
about
time.
that last time.
Yeah, I mentioned that last time. So I really, really, really love the comic. Now, it's gonna be hard because I don't want to spoil anything for show watchers only that I would know because I've read the comic, because there are some things that are just going to come about. So I am going to try to not reveal things from the comic, but in order to get some of my opinions across, I'm going to have to sort of delve into some of that. And so I'm going to be very careful about what I say so I don't reveal things that aren't out of season 1. But yeah,
I feel like I should disclaim, because a lot of people didn't know this going in from the comic to the TV show. Garth Ennis actually like helped develop the show, and he told Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, do not like do the same story from the comic book. Like people have read it before. It's been out for 25 years. Make a new story. Like do your own thing. Go wild with it, as long as you capture the essence of the characters. And so a lot of people walked away from the show like it wasn't the same thing. Like, what the fuck? He just stays in the town. Like, what is this shit? But that's exactly what Garth like wanted, because people had plenty of time to read the fucking story before. So he wanted people to get new experience out of it. So fans of the comic and non-fans could enjoy it equally.
And it's tough because you don't want to be one of those people who it's like, I've read the book is much better, like you know, like know those types, like you saw a lot of it with like Harry Potter, like
totally.
Harry Potter, you know, it was hard to like please them because they had this certain view. And they did the same thing with Walking Dead. AMC did the same thing with Walking Dead. They tried to stay with the essence and follow the story not to a T, and so they made their own artistic choices. So all that being considered, let's get into it. Okay, let's begin. God.
All right, let's start with the style. How about that? We'll start with the style before we dig into the plot and characters and whatnot. What did you guys think of the style?
Style in terms of what? Like the
just the
setting
structure,
or the cinematography?
All of that. Basically, the setting, the cinematography, the way they do some of the cuts, or some of the
They definitely took a page out of Breaking Bad, which is never a bad thing to do, because that show kind of like revitalized television. I dug the style. I thought they had there were a lot of moments in the show where I was like, my jaw was on the floor. Like, how the fuck did they shoot that? Like the hotel sequence with the rogue angel that's trying to kill the preacher, where they just keep killing her over and over, and it's just one tracking shot, like zooming out of the fucking hole in the wall. I thought that was brilliant. The like, major spoiler, but the fucking saloon sequence where he tells the guy to keep singing, and he just fucking slaughters the entire saloon in one,
and then his head,
just that stagnant shot of his face singing. I definitely think they went above and beyond with like their like stylizing it and not making it just like another TV show. I definitely dug they had a lot of bold like aspirations, and I feel like they hit it most of the time.
Yeah,
there was a couple of shots that looked really good to me. You know, the shot where Jesse's standing over the dead cop that he killed, like back in when they did the heist.
Yeah,
and it's a really simple shot, but it looks so good because you see his like. It starts with the guy laying on the ground with a bullet in his head. It goes up to the gun smoking. It pans around the gun to show Jesse like over him, and then they look up and see the guy Carlos get out of there. And there's a lot of shots like that. I think as far as the cinematography, there's certain shots that just astound me, and I think they were awesome. But sometimes it didn't too. Sometimes I thought they were trying way too hard, like in the scene with Cassidy on the airplane. I thought that it was a little too crazy. Like it was a little too hectic. It was all this back and forth and that kind of like almost kung fu cinematography.
Yeah, it is exactly
not cinematography, but
exactly
choreography.
Like that, yeah.
But then it like as soon as I'm like, I don't like that. Then they have like an amazing transition where he jumps out of the plane and then it's like the ketchup bottle squirts. You know, like him
yeah.
So it kind of like went from like it was like way too crazy, way too hectic, maybe trying a little too hard to then this like amazing transition. You're like, oh, that was really fucking cool. You know, what did you guys think about, and kind of in the same realm, what did you guys think about the jumping around to everywhere, especially in the first episode?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It didn't really bug me, honestly. This might trigger some people. I hated the way the comic book started with them in the diner and all those weird and all the flashbacks that weren't totally clear they were flashbacks until like page like 15, you know.
Yeah.
And so I like the way they did it in the show, switching from character to character, giving them each their moments and letting you know who they are as a character. And then going and then cutting back. I feel like it was structured well.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I felt like they started every episode with some type of flashback or some kind of background development, you know, and you know what eventually ended up becoming hell, which I didn't realize it. You know, I thought that was some kind of lead up to that.
That was a great twist.
Yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
see that
I was like,
at all.
what? Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, I think they did a lot of that, and that was a really proper way to, I think, structure a lot of the episodes. Just kind of getting that out of the way in the beginning and then doing it. The first episode was a little bit of a jumping, but it was okay for me, given that I knew nothing about it. You know, you were going in knowing a lot about some of the characters, but I didn't know anything about it. So, you know, even just the whole Cassidy thing, I'm just like, what's going on here? This is like totally different, like this whole airplane thing. And then it's like, oh, okay. And so he just drops and he just explodes on the ground, and it's that was hilarious.
He happens to land right under a bush that shades him just enough not to get burned up.
Exactly.
As somebody who hasn't read the comics, Chan, what did you find the way they shot it to be intriguing or confusing?
You mean just from the standpoint of ordering, or
ordering? Just like all the jumping around. Were you ever like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and it wasn't like you were intrigued. It was more like, I'm losing my place here. Did you ever feel that way?
Well, I mean, we can get into the plot too. I mean, I thought the plot itself in the whole series was something that was lacking there. But the jumping around, just the backstories, I didn't think that confused me at all. I was actually okay with the way they did that. It's just I thought they were leading to something, and I mean, my issue was like when we got to the end, it was a lot of the plot lines, or at least the storylines, didn't really play out the way I thought they would, or even weren't developed to a point where I thought. And that could be because there's future episodes coming up, but at least in this first season,
I mean, they set up a precedent that there's a lot of flashing back.
Yeah.
So things that made a lot of the unanswered questions, they can easily go back to in the next season. I think they got picked up for 3 more seasons or 2 more seasons.
Oh, did it? Oh, wow. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I think the jumping that didn't.
Ella's sitting here feeling stupid. I didn't get it. I didn't understand. It jumped around too much.
No, I'll be blunt. I fucking hated it. I'll just throw it out there. Like, I fucking hated it so much. So much. And again, this comes back to, you know, having read the comics and being like, oh, the comics are better, blah. I understand this is its own story. But man, part of the thing I love about Preacher is the time and the dedication it took to covering these characters, where they come from, their stories, and then how they all meet up, you know? And they tried to do it all in like one episode. I'm talking, they tried to fit everybody together, explain everybody all at once. And to me, it was just rushed. It was
that's how you have to do a pilot.
Yeah,
though.
it's only
Otherwise,
exactly. That's exactly
but they added
right.
characters that they didn't need to add into the first show. Characters in the comic book that don't show up until volumes later, like Odin Quincannon. Like, he isn't even around until Jesse like leaves Anvil. Like, he's in a totally different town. It's a totally different.
Yeah, again though, Garth wanted them to take free reign with his work and build their own story.
But why would they add so many characters into so little a time and try to explain so much about them? And you see it, it feels rushed, especially between like Cassidy and Jesse. Like, oh, it's my best mate.
Yeah,
It's my,
I
mean,
agree
their
with that.
relationship,
I
they
agree with
bought it in jail a little too quickly, but
yeah.
honestly, like from watching so much TV, dude, like
that. I know, that's the same with me.
this is how it works.
I just
Like,
accept it.
this is how TV works.
Yeah.
nah, fuck that.
Like,
We've got a
like,
vampire.
you have to take like precedent and realize that like things need to move at a quicker pace, or else you're never going to get the story out. You're never going to get to the fucking money shot. You're never going to, like, you can't just drag it out. Otherwise it turns into fucking Downton Abbey or some shit.
But it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make sense for the character. Like, a vampire who's been alive for over 100 years, who has met all these different types of people, been in all these different types of situations, is a loner, you know, mostly. And then to call this guy his best mate after knowing him a week or two, you know, this is somebody who's experienced. This is somebody who's like a Wolverine figure who has like been through time, you know, and known so much.
This is something they can totally flash back to in the next season. Like, I've seen shows do this before, where characters' motivations seem really vague and weird at the offset, and then they get a whole episode dedicated to their character's backstory.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it fucking makes so much sense. But that they would like do this thing, you know.
There's nothing that would make sense to me to how fast he latched on to Jesse. Like, the only thing you can say is that he was just because Cassidy has seen so much in his life, he just gets bored, and sitting in a small town and fucking around for a bit might be fun for him, you know. But it's like, oh, he's my best mate. Oh, he's my best friend. Oh, blah, 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 blah. This whole best mate shit was rushed and sort of sloppy to me. As a character, as like the essence of the character, Cassidy is a loner. I mean, until he meets Jesse, he doesn't ever think he's ever going to find somebody who he can trust, who he can care about. That was the big thing in the comic book, is he's a vampire. He sets himself apart. He's being hunted. He outlives all the people he loves and cares about. They all die. He remains the same, you know. And now he's this guy who's like, I don't want to get close to people because I will outlive them, and that's just so painful. And then go into calling, you know, my best mate in like a couple of weeks. It's just rough for me. It's hard. It's hard to wrap my head around it and enjoy the characters when I know that that's like so against it. But I mean, again, it's like the same thing with the show is different from the comic book. Right. So what if that's not actually his backstory anymore? No, but it is, because when he goes through his file, you see that he's been alive. He's like, oh, the interesting thing is these dates,
1920,
you know,
or whatever.
1920,
Yeah.
Wait, which episode was that?
That was actually in like the last episode, I think.
Where he's in jail. He's in the cell. Yeah,
right. I mean, it mentions New York, which is a big part of Cassidy's life in the comic. There's a lot of backstory that happens there. I mean, it still follows the fact that he's been alive for over 100 years. Like,
yeah,
it's
still, I knew that was a thing.
Yeah. But even when you look through his file and it shows New York and the things that happen, you know, these are things in the comic that happened as well. You know, not to reveal anything again, even though it's a spoiler alert for those of you who want to read the comic, keep watching the show. But it's I don't know, it's difficult, and that's my biggest complaint with the show is that I felt like it didn't capture the essence of many characters, and I think we can talk more about that.
There's only 10 episodes too, so it has to be rushed, right? And like Diction was saying, it's not guaranteed they're going to be renewed too. So they're trying to get in as much entertaining aspects.
It took them 12 years to even get this on TV. So I'm willing to bet they wrote it in a way where they're like, okay, let's try to cram as much as we love into this comic in this first season, in case it doesn't get picked up, because that was a very real threat. That's always a threat for a new show. You know, even on Netflix, which is just, they just fucking throw money left and right to shows and movies and stuff. Developing TV shows is fucking hard, and you're always like thinking like, all right, dude, gun to my head, we got to get this thing out there, we got to make it as good as we can make it, and hope that the audience catches on, or else we don't get another season.
And that usually that usually ends up removing or burning or ruining some of the very pure form of whatever work it is, whether it's
honestly, I think that
comic.
I mean, like, I'm not working on the show, but I feel like your gripes, Ello, that you have right now that they know that they're safe and they have another 2 seasons, they're probably going to flesh this shit out more because they got more time.
Yeah.
And I totally can see that, and I can understand that. But Diction, as somebody who's read the comics, did you feel, one, that their casting choices were sound, and two, did you feel like the essence was captured in most characters?
That's cool.
Cassidy for sure. Joe Gilgan, I love that man. He is.
I can agree.
I've loved him since Misfits. Everyone complained because he replaced that one character.
It was amazing.
Like,
in that show.
Fuck that other character. I love Rudy way more. Tulip, I love her. She's delightful. Awesome. She's Ruth Negga is just fucking phenomenal in everything she does. I wasn't too sure about what's his name? Dominic Cooper, because I'd only seen him in like 2 things before. Whereas I've seen Joseph and Ruth in like a lot of stuff, so I know their acting chops. So I wasn't too sure about him until the end of the first episode. I was like, all right, I'm sold. I'm totally sold on him. He's good. He's got the darkness, but also like the smart alecky attitude, And I don't know. I like what the twist they took with this character, which is instead of him giving up everything once he gets these powers, he decides to stay there and really try to live up to his father and try to like be a good person and really try to believe, even though you can tell he fucking doesn't. Like, even though there is a god inside of his body and he's kind of aware of that sort of, but not really. You still can see that he's always struggling with his beliefs, and like he always fucking will at the end of the day. But and also Ian Coletti as Assface is just the most precious thing in the show. Even though he's technically a horrible character for what he did, he is just, every time he's on screen, I'm like, oh, Assface, what's up, buddy? What's troubling you today? Like,
we have to talk about the makeup job on ours.
Oh my god!
Holy crap! That looks like an ass, man. Like an ass. That was perfect. Man, every time I looked at it, I'm just like, oh man. Oh, how can a shotgun to the face make you look like that? I mean, I just don't. I don't.
You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised.
Well, not many people survive a shotgun to the face, So, but that's another thing is the character of Arseface, I think, was pretty close to the essence of the character. But again, some story choices that were changed made him out to be this really kind of sympathetic, or like not just I feel like you're not sympathetic with him, like not as much as you would be in the comics, because in the comics, and this isn't a big reveal or anything like that, in the comics it's a completely different context. He didn't try to kill some innocent girl and then shoot himself. He shot himself because he was a big fan of Kurt Cobain.
Wow.
And so in reverence of him being such a big fan of Kurt Cobain, he tried to kill himself, and he survived. He survives a shotgun blast, and his face is like that. So in the show, it's like whenever he gets sent to hell, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit. Whenever he gets sent to hell, and Jesse says, "Oh, who cares if I send him to hell? He fucked this girl up and then tried to kill himself." At that point, I just go, I don't have any sympathy for Arseface right now. I don't really have a lot of sympathy for him. Fuck that guy.
I mean, I still did, because like the entire series, he's trying to make amends for what he did. He's trying to believe. He's trying to forgive himself, and he's having a hard time. And like they don't make it clear until like episode 6 or 7 like what he did, like why people don't like him and why he's like this fucking pariah. But even up until then, I was just like, all right, so he did something horrible. Like, you definitely knew that he shot his face off. Like, that was definitely a self-inflicted wound.
Yeah.
So his just like unbridled passion for just trying to fucking make up for the shit that he did made me sympathetic to him, even if what he did was really horrible and kind of evil in a sense. Misguided though. He is still a teenager, and teenagers do stupid fucking shit all the time.
Like shoot people with a shotgun. Like, I mean,
School shootings happen all the time.
I know you're right. You're right. But we never feel sympathetic towards these people.
No,
like, here's the line for me. It's like in the
I pity them. I don't feel sympathy. I pity them.
Exactly. Here's the line for me. In the comic book, again, he did the thing to Kurt Cobain, but he still got the same treatment from the people around him. He was still bullied for trying to shoot himself because it was kind of a super religious town. Suicide was a no-no. He looked, crazy, and he looked scary, and people didn't like that. And he was very positive about it. Like, hey guys, like, how's everybody doing? Just the same character that he is here. But the difference is that the essence of the character is different for me, because the reason I felt for Arseface, which is what they call him in the comic, was Assface, whatever, Arseface. The reason I felt for him was because he didn't deserve a lot of that. He didn't deserve to have people say, "Finish the job" with the shotgun there in the wall. He didn't deserve the bullying. So when that happened to him, and the way he stays positive throughout it is what made me love that character in the comic. But now they've changed the story behind it, and now he's tried to take the life of another innocent girl, some young girl. And it's hard for me to feel sympathetic to him at all. Like, I'm like, oh, you got bullied? Oh, finish the job? Like, I get it. Like, I get why these people are treating you this way. You tried to kill some young woman in town, like, selfishly, because you just couldn't fucking get your shit together with your teen angst, just like everybody else deals with. And so, like, I just found myself at that point, as soon as he said that, oh, do you know what happened to Eugene? And he explains the story. As soon as that happened, I just stopped caring about Eugene. I was like, cool, let him sit now.
I mean, given that, I think that was a weird choice then, like from a writing standpoint, to do that, because, he is an endearing figure until that point, like you said, and it was kind of important. Even at the last moments, right, where he gets sent to hell, I still feel like he was, trying to do the right thing, trying to get Preacher to do the right thing. So it really compromises his character.
Yeah, and that was my biggest complaint with that. How much more sympathetic would you be if they would have just stuck with the original story? Like just stuck with the fact that he tried to kill himself in reference to Kurt Cobain. Like, I think you would have felt so much closer to the character and so much more sympathetic for all the things he dealt with in town if you didn't have to think like, oh, well, he did try to kill this girl. All he did was try to kill himself, just being a dumb, stupid teen.
I disagree on all points, because I feel like it makes him a more well-rounded three-dimensional character, and it makes it more interesting to watch, because you guys are having this discussion right now and you wouldn't have it otherwise, which is an interesting discussion. Like, should you sympathize with him because of what he did and what he's trying to do now? Like, I feel like it gives him an extra dimension that wasn't there in the comic book. And also, the Kurt Cobain thing is fucking 30 years old, so it wouldn't make sense to do it now. Like,
it is dated, but you could have come up with something different. That
could
have been malicious.
I don't know. For me, it didn't. Yeah, like, I definitely didn't. I stopped feeling as sympathetic towards him, but it made me way more interested in the town and the town's history and the stories and like the character.
Yeah, I just went from feeling like a tragic figure to like to some other feeling. I don't know. Like, I like the tragic Arseface that didn't deserve it. Really didn't deserve it. Didn't deserve the bullying. Didn't deserve that shit. And your heart goes out to this dude. And then you end the show. It's like, well, maybe he did deserve it. But addiction. I mean, you're wrong on a lot of accounts. But I mean, it's fine.
Well, you can go fuck yourself on a lot of accounts.
So Ella, like, getting back to like just the actors again. Did you like Dominic Cooper? Because personally, I did not like him that much.
Nope.
I thought in the first few episodes I had the same reaction as you, Addiction. Like, we're okay. This guy seems, almost a little too straight-laced and honestly just a little too simple for me. But okay, at the end at the end of the first episode, I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I can kind of see like his pictures. All I saw before was pictures of him, right, in the promos and things like that. And so I had this perception of what kind of guy he would be beforehand, because then obviously I had no exposure to him before. But then after I watched him, I kind of could see how it would come together. But as the series went on, he was easily my least favorite. He was my least favorite character, period, just
Yeah.
like in the whole
that,
thing.
Yeah, man.
And that was crazy because he's the main character, right? So that was
he's like very evil in the show. He's very evil and very misguided and very lost and all this stuff, when in contrast to the comic book character. Again, I'm gonna do this like book thing, like the book is so much better. I know I'm doing it, but at the same time, we're talking about the essence of the character. This character that was created, you know, like what, like 20 years ago, maybe not that much, but this character and the essence of it, and they don't even talk about this, is how much of a code this guy has. This guy has a cowboy code. His favorite actor is John Wayne, and he even sees John Wayne as a mentor to him in the comic book. Like John Wayne will appear and go, "You're fucking up, boy. Like, what are you doing?"
Really?
You know? Oh
Wow.
yeah. And John Wayne comes out and talks to him and guides him and keeps him to this code, this very strict code, which is why the character in the book almost refuses to use the word. He knows right off the bat it's wrong. He knows it's cheating. He knows all these things because it's totally against this cowboy code that he gave, that he got and made for himself by watching John Wayne movies and by what his dad told him before he died. That was very accurate. His dad saying, you have to be one of the good guys. You have to be one of the good guys. So when I see scenes where he's manipulating the entire town maliciously just for his own devices, just to make his own self feel better, that never happened in the comic. He was so reluctant to even speak the word. Like, he considered it to be a weakness. He considered himself to be out of place if he were to use this power when he felt like he had the right stuff to deal with these problems without it. But in the comic, he just leans on it immediately. And it's just a weird thing to see. It's like it went from being my favorite character to being this like really weak, really lost, misguided.
Yeah. I think weak and lost are perfect words to use, like how I felt about him too.
Well, why does that make him bad as a character, though?
Well, I mean, at least for me, I mean, given that,
I mean, like the comparisons can't really factor, like you can, because it's a different thing.
Because he was never manipulative in the comic. He was not a manipulative.
But the comic isn't. It was the show, though, and
let's
just talk. I mean, let's purely talk about the show here, right? I mean, for me, it was like, he had these inner conflicts, obviously, like the good in him, right? Just like what his dad told him to be, and I guess this whole John Wayne thing. And then he had just the whole selfish thing with the powers or whatnot. And that, I could understand that a little bit. But as we got towards the end, especially with the stuff with Tulip at the end with Carlos, I mean, that whole last scene where, you know, they're going to basically beat up Carlos and how that kind of like came about, that was weird, you know what I mean? Because like he was pushing against her the whole time, and I kind of understood that, right? You know, how he was trying to be a better person. There was some sort of
catalyst in that episode that switched his like perception on everything. Something, I forget exactly what happened, but something happened drastically to him, and he was like, you know what, fuck it, let's get him.
I mean, I know that's what was supposed to happen, but it just didn't feel like that, you know. And I feel like it had something to do with acting, or I mean, I don't think it was so much writing. It might have been more just the actor not really portraying it very well. But I had a feeling, I got that feeling too. And the other characters were just so, I mean, you just knew where you just knew where they were. You know, like they were really strong with how they presented. You know, like Tulip, right? Her character was perfect. I mean, I knew where she was. You know, she wanted Jesse to be back to where Jesse was before. You know, like when they were basically Bonnie and Clyde, or the three of them were just I don't know the backstory, but then basically they were, you know, obviously doing all these jobs or whatnot. And you know, her whole purpose is, you know, for love of him too. It was to like stick around the town and try to, you know, basically get him back there and send him away from this whole preacher thing. And she, you know, it's just like a really definitive character, or at least her arc was definitive, where Jesse is just like, I felt like it should have been definitive. I felt like he gets this power, okay, he keeps the power, he fends off the angels, and you know, he's going to do something with these powers, but he doesn't really do anything with the power. Yeah, he does these little manipulations of the town, you know, it's just like here and there, and some of it had to do with just him feeling good about himself, but for the most part there was just like no objective to it. Like I didn't feel like there was an objective to all, like him getting the powers and even the angels coming to get it back from him. I mean, that was just kind of, That was a weird dynamic too. I don't know. What'd you guys think of that? I thought the angels were
That was
hilarious.
that was in the comic book. That was like
Yeah.
straight up in the comic
I
book.
thought those guys were hilarious, and I mean,
They were
actually,
awesome. They were so good.
Most of the most, I mean, the most
And just their like
enjoyable
blasé
scenes were that.
attitude about being
Yeah.
killed all the time was just sort of like, oh my
so
god,
funny.
stop killing us.
Exactly.
We're just gonna come back.
That apartment scene was literally one of the best scenes like ever. Where they just,
that I thought that scene was really well done. I think it really captured what you finally realized the implications of what you were dealing with. You know, like these people coming back, and you know you're having to kill. It's like, don't kill them, just maim them. You know, like, keep them barely alive, because if you know.
God, when you find out what they fucking did to her.
I know.
Oh my god, that was gnarly. That was fucking gnarly.
Exactly.
And then that was like a really interesting. We haven't talked about the sheriff Hugo. I love him.
Yeah.
I loved how fucking weird and like conflicted and just like kind of cruel, but at the same time not cruel he was. Like he had a lot of facets to him that were like never in the comic book. In the comic book, he was just a fucking hard-assed piece of shit. And when he got his comeuppance, you were like, yes, thank goodness. But now it's like I have a weird like I feel for him in a sense, but not really, because he comes from a bygone era of like, you know, like rootin' tootin' cowboy sheriffs, you know, like but yeah, like that scene where he fucking just like straight up strangles her and puts her out of her misery was just like really fucking just like, what? I did not expect him to do that. I figured he had like some weird moral code that kept him from doing shit like that, and then
well, I think he did, right? And that was why that moment was so powerful.
Yeah.
And how he reacted, right, emotionally after that. But yeah, I think the sheriff, so he was powerful in the comic, because I didn't actually feel like he held any power in the town. You know, it was like,
not really.
Kincaid,
No,
he's in the comic. He's not even part of the town. Like he's in a totally separate place. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He. I really like the actor. I can't remember his name. He was in Deadwood. He played.
I got it. It's W. Earl Brown.
Oh my god, the guy's acting ability is insane. I love his acting, and I have since Deadwood. And Deadwood, Dan was one of my favorite characters, and to see him come back in this was awesome. But again, it's a completely different character. I mean, it's just a completely different character. And in that character, I for some reason in my head, I just decided to accept him for that he was just going to be different, because the other character wasn't really compelling in the comic book, to be honest. Like Diction said, he was just sort of a huge asshole. And
racist asshole, like huge racist asshole.
Oh, just an asshole to his son. And you see that kind of come out in the show when he, you know, tells him, why didn't you just finish the job, and smacks the, you know, plate of, of eggs into the wall. You see, like, that's what that's the comic book sheriff. Like that's that, but all the time. It's all the time like that. So I loved that they sort of changed that. Because he's not a main character, I'm okay with them changing him and what type of character he is. And again, back to that word essence, you know, the essence of the character, because he's not a main character. It was fine with me. And I think he did an excellent job. I really liked the scene with him and Cassidy. I liked how they built him up to the end of that. Like you said, when he choked her, I wasn't necessarily surprised, but I was kind of at the same time. Like you said, you think this is a guy with a code, but throughout the whole series, he's constantly saying how fucked up the world is. You know, God, things are fucked up now. You know, he says, what does he say? The Japanese let a dude marry his pillow. What are we doing with our, with the world? You know, like, and this is like a thing throughout in the story he tells about the woman that goes to find her kid and leaves her other two children with the pretzel guy or whatever. You know, I loved it. I think he's probably the only character that had major changes that I was totally fine with, because I feel like he was better for it.
Yeah, I mean, I like the conflict, or not the conflict, but that dynamic relationship he has with Arseface. You know, like you said, he had that one scene where he was like, you should have finished the job, but then, you know, he's the one that's saying that Eugene is a good kid, and you know, when he's trying to look for him, and you know, he loves him too. You know, it's clear, at least in the TV show,
trying to love him despite what he did.
Or I mean, or he loves him. Maybe
struggle.
Maybe he inherently loves him just because he's his son, but it's like, all the torment that he's getting, as just all the people vandalizing his house, and just the nonstop comments and whatnot is really eating him. And he just, as somebody who's prideful too, right? Like I'm sure as a man too, that it's tough for him to have to do that. So I enjoy that. I mean, I think the depth that he has is really good, and it sounds like they added that, which is cool.
Yeah, and the reason they did in the comic was to contrast Arseface. Yeah, because he was really the main, in the comic, he's really the main source of most of the torment that Eugene goes through. He's the guy who's going, why didn't you finish the job, like we see in that one scene, but it's never just, it's not like an isolated incident, I lost my cool. This is how he talks to him all the time.
Right.
You're a fucking failure. You're the worst. Like, how could you do this? God, I wish you weren't fucking here. Look what you did to your mother. Like, it's constantly, but all the whole time Arseface is like, sorry, Dad, I'll try better next time. Yeah. I just want you to love me, and I just love you. And so like this contrast between the super positive kid that's just trying to love and be a part of his father's life is like just stumped by this like harsh whatever. So like I said, I really like in the show how you see a very human side of him. He does love his son. He does try to do the best. He does lose his cool. He succumbs to the pressure of, the town and just his own inner turmoil with what's happening. So when he does reach over to choke her, it's surprising, but it's not. Like he's willing to do the hard, gritty thing because you know what? He's seen the hard, gritty shit. And he's lived that, and he knows that's there, and so he kind of starts to sort of embrace it. And I like it. I like that scene with him and Cassidy in the jail cell. Him questioning him about it and shooting him. I thought it was very strange that he just let Cassidy out at the end after shooting him 4 more times, after having this huge file and finding out he's a vampire. That didn't make sense to me. But like, I get that but in his head, he went too far. He knew that he was getting emotional. That's the only justification, is that he was no longer being a professional sheriff. He was being him, and he was allowing the shit. Yeah.
What a comic where you have preachers mixed with vampires, mixed with cowboys, mixed with
cowboys from hell,
angels, and telephones phoning heaven.
It goes further. Crazy. It goes on and on and on. Wait till the scene where Tulip exchanges information, and that information goes to that dude in the movie theater.
Oh yeah.
And you guys, nobody knows anything about that. Yeah, nobody knows anything about the shit that's going to come from that. So there's like a lot more crazy on the way. If you think like this is crazy, like future crazy is going to blow you away. This is nothing. This is nothing. This is all tame. This is all like the kiddie stuff at the beginning. Like everyone's fun and we're laughing and whatever. And so it does get even crazier. You're right. It's a very what's the word? It's a very I don't want to say like I know what the words. I can't remember. I can't think of a good word
things,
for it.
Or
it's kind of like a hodgepodge of all sorts of crazy supernatural and real, but like thrown in a realistic time, and kind of tried to be explained in a realistic way, and there, like vampires exist, this shit is possible, but there's not very many, and they only have there's only a certain amount that really is true about them. You can't just douse them in holy water. You can't, silver bullets and all that shit. But the sun, I love how he's like the sun, and he's like, oh no, that shit's real. Like when Tulip's like talking to him, like, silver bullets, that's a werewolf. Cross, he's like a symbol that's a like thing from wherever that's man-made. No, the sun. Oh yeah, no, the sun will
breaks out in flames. So before we go on, I just want to remind everybody that at the end of the show, you guys can join us in the preacher discussion by going to the Discord channel that hopefully Monkey or Lucky will link to you guys, and you can join the call. Well, we had a few people already on, like some of the previous episodes, and it was amazing. So hopefully you guys have been watching Preacher will have some different angle or element to add to the show.
Yeah. Let's see. I couldn't. I hate to like reel this back to Jesse, but I have to for a moment. I have to reel it back to Jesse for a second. The reason this show doesn't work for me in this first season is because it's very pick and choosy about when Jesse decides to use the God word.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have somebody who has the word of God inside of them and can make anybody do anything. And the only thing in the comics that kept this in check was the moral code that he had. Okay. So in the series, it doesn't really delve into his moral code. He's really kind of got no filter to it, but it doesn't really explain why in some scenes he uses it and other scenes he doesn't. You know, like for instance, with Odin Quincannon, okay? In the first, he has no problem speaking the word of God to him and going, serve God. You know,
right.
like, oh yeah, I'll serve God. I'll do it. He has no qualms with doing that to him. But when he's sitting down at the table and he says, oh, I'm going to need your land, you know, why doesn't Jesse just use the word there? Like, what's holding him back from going?
No, because he wanted to make a statement to the entire. That's why he wanted everyone in the town to be in the church, and to see and like to believe that he is like the preacher they need, because he convinced this fucking super atheist, you know, like corporate monster to believe in God. Like that's why he did that. Like
I know, but why doesn't he just use the word of God on him? Like there's so many other ways he could go about it.
Because he wanted the entire town.
No.
Why didn't he do it again?
Why didn't he use the word of God on everyone like he was doing before? Like, why did he choose that path? Like, there's so many different ways he could have come about that to make the town do whatever the fuck he wanted, really. Why was he trying then to make a statement without using the word when he was so willing to use the word up until that point? And it just doesn't.
I feel like he knew that's like extra cheating to just be like, hey, everyone, believe in God.
Boom, yeah, but the thing is
because he was trying to like be like his dad. He wanted to be an actual preacher. He wanted to actually serve God, and like, so he figured out like, okay, I can kind of cheat a little bit if I do this, but it will convince everyone that I'm the real deal. That's what I got from it. I feel like they displayed that.
Yeah, I agree with that
pretty well.
I can see where you're coming from. I just have a hard time deciding why he decides to use the word here and not there, or there and not here. The only thing that kept that in check in the comic books, and the only way it made sense in the comic books, was because he had his own personal moral code that kept him from doing that. But in this, he seems to not have that. So it's like, why?
Well, I think he still has some.
Why not just use it on everybody?
He still has some moral code. Like, I mean, he still always has his dad, that memory of his dad, like that does ring constantly with him. So it is more of a conflict, and I agree with addiction. I think it's just like the level of doing it. Yeah, it's like telling a little white lie, you know, that sort of thing. I think
sending someone to hell.
Well, that was a mistake. That was a moment of weakness. That wasn't like, you know, that was more of an accident.
That's not a moment of weakness. That was like a whole day of weakness. No, he did it in a moment. Hold on. Listen, he did it in a moment of weakness. I didn't mind that he said, go to hell, Eugene, and Eugene went to hell. Okay, fine. I can buy that. What bothered me so much, and this is when I went in Skype and was like, fuck this show. What bothered me is that immediately after he didn't go, oh shit, come back. You know, like, oh,
no. The next episode, he was asking like the angels, right? Like how to get him back out of hell. Like, so I assumed he tried.
No, but the thing
is, it wasn't working.
Like, he had a whole sermon. He went around the rest of his day. The only time he even started to consider getting him back was when the sheriff started coming around questioning where his son had been.
Sure.
And when Cassidy called him out on it.
That he was like, still like he was pissed, and he was like felt righteous in what he did. Like he in that moment he was angry, and then like he convinced himself thereon that like, well, Eugene did this horrible thing, so maybe he deserves to be in hell. Like that's from his body language alone, I got that. His reasoning was because he deserved to be in hell.
If the sheriff didn't show up looking for his son, and if Cassidy didn't call him out on it, how long would Eugene have been in hell? Even in like the image of him, how long would he have been down there?
I think this is a product again of the Jesse character not being like explicitly laid out, you know, as to, because you're right. Like I think later on, then he shows concern for it, but it wasn't until, you know, a sequence of other characters, you know, basically got him to do that. But at the end, you actually see he is concerned about him. So that was just weird in terms of the writing. You know, I think they could have just done that better. I'm not even sure it was purposeful as the way it was. He was a little bit aloof, you know, about him sending directly after he sent it to him. In some ways, he was more like, you know, not wanting to admit that he made a mistake, you know, when him and Cassidy are discussing it, right? And Cassidy probably said, dude,
I think
you sent the kid
part of
to
it
hell. What the hell? You know,
I feel like at that point in the series, he was feeling super self-righteous about like having the voice that he felt like, because remember they tried to take the voice from him and it wouldn't, and then
he went back.
They got it, and then it went back to him. So he felt that he was like, okay, I deserve this. God wants this for me. I'm the word of God, and so I feel like he had this huge head about it.
It's just not Jesse Custer, though. That is not Jesse Custer. Like, to me, that is the opposite of Jesse Custer. Like, everything, we're talking about the essence of a character. I know there's changes. I get that. I'm okay with changes in the storytelling, right? But keep the characters in line. You know, like Rick Grimes, while the story of Walking Dead is very different in the telling of the AMC show as opposed to the comics, the character is still there. His character is still very much the same. And a lot of those characters are very much the same. But you are talking about taking somebody who almost rejects the fact that he has this power. He doesn't want to use it. And then in the show, you make him into this figure that uses it for his own devices and doesn't mind throwing it out. It's like, because of all those reasons, it's not Jesse Custer to me. I can't love this character. I can't get behind this character. I can't see this character as this beloved character that's had for so long when he's so incredibly different. He's just, his whole code is different. It's everything's different to me. But again, you know,
they might try to get closer to the comics, like in the future, you know, seasons. So one thing that you did bring up was the whole, you know, Odin Quincannon. You know, when he used the word on him, right, at church. Yep. Why does that wear off? Like, I don't understand.
It didn't wear off.
Okay.
He took it literally, and like basically like he has his idea of like what like humanity needs. And then when he tells him to serve God, it didn't actually make him really believe in God. It just made him believe in him. He thinks of himself as a kind of a God. So he was like, all right, I'll serve God then.
The God of meat.
And God wants me to fucking take this land and get rid of these fucking corporate douchebags, you know, like it was like the first episode when he said, give her your heart. And he just like ripped his heart out and gave it to his mom. The word of God, like when he uses the word, sometimes it just goes completely literally, and it doesn't work out the way he needs it to.
And that was my question. That was basically my question was, why in this scene was it okay for him to go believe in God? And then when he realized that he took that literally and kind of made his own world up, why didn't Jesse just correct it and go, no, believe in my God? Like, just follow my God. Like, why didn't he just correct that then? Like, it would have taken 2 seconds. It wouldn't have changed what he wanted in the first place. Like, why when he realized that, oh, he's making this out to be a different God, the God of me. That's not what I intended.
Advocate here and tell you that it served the story and not the audience expectations. Because if he did that, then we wouldn't have that awesome siege sequence where he's sitting outside and he's shooting their dicks off and stuff. Like,
I love how he's like literally a sniper.
You know, he would have just gone back to his office and listened to cows being slaughtered on his radio.
But that's why it doesn't work for me. That's why it doesn't. Okay. That's exactly why it doesn't work for me. Because it doesn't. I get it. And you're right. You're totally right. Because the story has to progress, right? You know. But again, that word was kept in check by a moral code. In the show, it's not there. So let's keep it in check. But anyways, I keep dwelling on that. Quincannon. What a fucking crazy character, though, right?
He's awesome.
Dude, he's awesome, though, right?
Jackie Earl Haley is just my favorite bad guy right now. Like, anytime he plays a bad guy, it is the most fucking savage because he's so tiny. He's such a small person. But like when he like just stares at characters, you're like, all right, this guy could murder you in a second, you know? Like he is just like empty inside. I love him. He's so good.
Another cast choice that I think was awesome. I think he was spot on to the original character. Like I don't think I don't know who you could pick that would be better than that guy.
Yeah. I love how he's, you know, just an historian or Alamo fanatic or whatnot, and you know, so and then it leads into the siege, right? So he's having them go into all these like freaking dated formations and whatnot,
like foreshadowing there.
And he's like eating a sandwich. He's like, "Yeah, I can go get me a sandwich," while he's like sitting on his chair doing it. That was freaking
I
awesome.
love when he's trying to
Holy
explain to them what he
smokes.
wants, but he's
Yeah.
also trying to be sensitive to them. Like, I'm not saying you're meat shields,
But you are.
well, and you are made of meat, and you're kind of acting like a shield. So that's what you're gonna do. And I don't want you to feel like you guys don't mean anything. But if one of your friends dies, leave him behind. Like, you know, like shot, leave him behind. Just stick to the. It was this weird thing where it's like, if I was in that crowd of guys, and the only reason it makes sense is because these guys seem to be pretty low
Like
intelligence.
minions. They're just minions.
Yeah. They're not smart. They're uneducated, so they're just like, okay, boss, you know, that kind of thing. But like, it was so funny the way he like approaches it. But if you would have done that to any other group of people that had any sense, they'd be like, I'm fucking out of here. I'm not gonna risk my dick for a food court. You know, like that one guy's like, food court. And then he comes back like, it doesn't even hurt, guys. I don't know, man. It's just my dick got shot off. Like
See,
it probably will hurt in a minute, but it doesn't hurt right now. I like this just little dialogue to himself.
I know.
I love his dialogue. I just was chuckling to myself when he's talking about his dick and how it didn't hurt, and you know, everyone's just looking at him like, what the fuck?
Those are all the offbeat things that I actually that was the part of the show that I did enjoy.
The humor pretty well. Like every time they would like show, every episode had like a different rearranging of the letters on the sign for the church, and it's something fucking lewd. Open your ass in holes in the first episode. I fucking cackled.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just for clarification though. And again, I feel so.
Don't open your ass in holes.
Don't open your
ass in holes for Jesus or anyone. What was the point of Emily?
Oh gosh, I was gonna.
She's the moral compass. Until a certain point, obviously. Where is thrust into a position where she has to do some evil shit
until she explodes at the end. You know, like what? Like
I don't know if there's a purpose of that was though. You know,
no. She's the voice of reason for Jesse. She's the one that's trying to.
I understand her role.
She's trying to help him, but she doesn't actually understand what he's really trying to do. And she's got her own. I love her fucking relationship with the mayor, where she's like got him on this fucking weird short leash, and he's like looking after her kids and shit. And she's like, "All right, I gotta go. Can you look after the kids?" He's like, "Oh, okay, there, darling. Like maybe I get to spend the night tonight." She's like, "No," and just walks out the door.
Yeah, but
if that's true, why would she kill that guy?
I know that's what I mean.
Why would she kill that guy? Like that made no sense.
Yeah,
that was a little rough. Yeah.
I feel like that just ruins. I feel like that ruins.
Maybe she has a dark background we don't even know about yet. Maybe that's like not the first time she's done something like that.
Well, she's gone now. I mean, she's dead.
Yeah,
like she blew up the town.
They can still bring her back. They can still bring her back in a flashback or something.
Well, they can bring her back.
There are angels in the
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
come back. Like
exactly.
You know, nobody's truly dead, I guess. But her character, and I get the moral compass thing. That made sense to me up until she threw that dude in a closet to kill him. For no reason. Like
she called him
out of her character. She set him up. Yeah. He did nothing to her that made, you know, like if this was a character that beat her or was mean to her in some way. I mean, the only thing he can be accused of is being overbearing. You know, like his caring about her was too much, so she kills him. Like Emily, the moral compass?
He did something in an earlier episode that was like really. But
she doesn't know that. He the car with the burning and the because Quinn Canning comes out and shoots the people, then he fakes the car accident.
Right.
He's a bad guy, but she doesn't know that. He's done nothing but dry her shoes, you know, like wash her shoes, take care of her kids, be there for her. She fucks him.
Yeah,
she does all calls him her boyfriend. Yeah, and then murders him. Like, why does she murder him? I was
confused about that too. I didn't understand like what any purpose in that actually, because I mean,
I have to go back and rewatch it. Because it was like really out of left field compared to like
she had more of
Hugo strangling the chick in the bath.
That's actually not necessarily even a bad thing, you know. Like and you can depending on how you feel about it. I mean, he could have just been putting her out of her misery type of thing, right? With this thing, it's like there were plenty of. She almost had more compassion for the animals, that freaking guinea pig, than she did for the guy. That's crazy. That's what was crazy about it. And
because she was that moral compass person, it just made it so weird. It made it so weird because she would be the one that did the right thing, right? But she did the the horrible thing, like to a guy that really didn't deserve it. I feel like I'm naysaying this series so much. I just really didn't like. It was one of the first things that we went to watch, and I had to push myself through the end. Like I had to really push, and I was just sitting there going, I was trying to like it. I'm trying to like it. So I don't want to come across as this contentious figure, like this guy that's just like, fuck this show. And you guys are like, no, we like it, But at the same time, I have to be honest about my feelings about it. Like Emily, the character of Emily, to me, and by the way, Emily isn't even a character in the comic book. Yeah, she served very little purpose. She never once convinced Jesse to do anything, really. Like Jesse just made up his mind about whatever he wanted to. She never guided him. She tried to, but he didn't really. He just kind of wrote her off. She was around. She helped out. She had some kids. She killed the dude, and then she died. Like I just didn't see the point. I didn't see the point of her. So yeah. What did you guys think about the end? About the whole God showing up?
We have to talk about the God scene. Hilarious. We have to talk about the God scene where he's just like stone faced. He's like
this fucking
balls,
really stupid like fucking public access presentation of God, and they're just like, that was so good, and everyone just starts freaking out and asking these really good questions that you should ask God, and then he's just like, okay, I'm sorry, we don't know where he is. He's gone. He left.
Yeah, and I love there's a scene in the comic book where again, this isn't a big spoiler or anything, where God comes down and is like, you called me my son, like the blinding light behind him, and like I am the Almighty. I just in a very similar way. And Jesse in the comic book immediately used the God word and says, cut the shit. And like the lights are gone immediately, everything's gone. It's just some old dude like, what up? And it reminded me kind of that scene. It's like this guy's like, you're all saved. Yes, my children. Yes. And then Jesse walks out and he's just like, cut the shit. Like, where's God? Oh, we don't know. We don't know. Cut the feet. Get out, pull me out. And he's looking to the other guys like, he made me do it. Like, I don't know. He just said it and I just had to answer. It seemed campy, but it's supposed to be campy.
It was funny, dude. That scene was hilarious.
It's what angels think we want to see. It's like that's the funny. Like it's what angels
it's like they think we're so stupid that we'll buy it. Like we'll totally buy that shit.
I love the people in the back. They're like, you had your question. Now my question, what did he say? So one guy yelled the most ridiculous, like, what? Like, are unicorns real? What was it that he threw out there that was so like, oh, what was it? Damn, I forget what it was. I love how dumb they are, and it comes out in some of the questions that they ask. Like some people were asking like really important questions, like Diction said, like what is the purpose? What are we? What is this? And he's trying to answer them, and then but the majority of them are just yelling out like who will win this next week's football game?
Exactly.
It's like you have God in front of you. I love that. I just love that scene just because it really captured the education level of this town and like some of the inhabitants and how backwoods these guys are. But I didn't like Tulip in that scene. I did not like Tulip walking up being like all sassy to God. It's like, we get it, Tulip, we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, we get it. You're the sassy one. Yeah, we get it. You've already solidified your character. You don't have to sass God. I feel like even super sassy people wouldn't sass God. You wouldn't dare. I don't care how sassy you are. I don't care how Tulip O'Hare you are. It's like, fuck that. That's just like, no, and when that happened, I was just like, I was like groaning when that happened. I was like, oh my God, shut up, Tulip. Like, just shut up. It's God, shut up. But the whole scene itself I thought was pretty hilarious and pretty good. I liked the aftermath. I like how everyone reacts to it. But here's this thing. Chanman, Diction, would you guys react the same way if you knew for a fact that God was gone and no one knew where he was, and he was not looking out for the earth anymore.
It's like riots basically whenever the law enforcement's gone or something like that, essentially.
Yeah.
Of course I wouldn't, but
not really. No.
I think
would
a
it
large
change your
amount
life? Would you live your life really any different?
No.
Nah, not really.
Nope.
And the only reason I can think that these
I can still go to prison for like doing
I know,
horrible
I
shit.
still get
Like there's still the law of man still exists. So why would I just like, oh, there's no God? Fuck it, gonna go murder some people and rob some stores. Like,
but like the little girls go and kill the pedophile. Like they murder the pedophile.
Oh yeah,
and
God, that was so
like,
satisfying.
That was
it was satisfying, but like I'm just like, man, what are these kids made out of? They're made out of goddamn titanium. Like they're like these kids are like solid titanium cases of emotion. Like even when you were first introduced to Tulip, these two kids are outside and she like murders a couple guys in front of them, and these kids who you think would be sensitive to death because they lost their mother, they say it, are like cool. You know, like what town are these kids being raised in where like the death of people or even killing people is like totally fine, not a worry, you know, like as a kid, especially as a kid, you're so innocent and there's that innocence about you, and you don't want to do these things. You just, most kids wouldn't just kill somebody unless there was some kind of an imbalance. But it seems like in this town, it's like these kids are okay with death, no problem. Oh, you're gonna make a bazooka out of moonshine and fucking coffee cans and duct tape and blow a helicopter out of the sky, and there's a guy with shrapnel on his face, and the kids are just like, whatever, I idolize you. You know, it's like, I'm like, where are these kids coming from? Like, what are these kids born and raised in? Right. That seemed a little weird to me. I can get some people would kill themselves. I can get people would have hopelessness and you know, maybe they do the looting, rioting thing. But like Diction said, you know, we're still under a law of man. You know, like there may be no God, but you can still sit your ass in jail for the rest of your life and live that existence. That's not fun.
Well, I think
so. The whole
I think your general question about whether, you know, how much of civilization is run by this moral compass created by religion, that I think that's a pretty interesting question. I wonder what percentage of the world would freak out at that point, even with the law, right? Even with the law in place.
Yeah, and that's a question, because it seemed like the whole town just gave up. Like everyone just gave up. Everything nice they were doing, they just stopped doing because they didn't see a point anymore, and they just gave up. And I'm thinking, like, would my town do that? Would your town do that? Would I do that? Would, you know, this is a very specific town, and I think in relation to the comic books, again, I have to, you know, relate it to the comic books, that makes more sense, because the town is like almost that level of religious to where it's hateful, to where it's detrimental, you know, that kind of thing. And I think they have their own little ecosystem there that made more sense. But I liked the scene. I liked, it was entertaining, you know, to see everybody freak out, but I didn't really think it was that realistic. Like, would it really be like that? Would kids really be killing bus drivers? And, you know, like
in the world of Preacher, I believe that.
Yeah. I guess totally. I guess that's
it's
true.
Definitely, I mean, yeah, it's a fantasy, like,
of course
it's definitely a fantasy show.
Can we talk? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, let's talk about hell, like that whole.
That's what I was just about to say. Exactly. Let's talk about
that. Was such the way they built up to that was so perfect.
Yeah.
Just like, because I knew who that character was when they first did that opening of him riding into town to get the medicine for his family and shit. Like, I knew that was the Killer of Saints, but.
Why did he?
Did they ever, I've only read the first 2 volumes of the comics, so I don't know how much into his background they actually went into.
Oh, you've only read the first two.
All I know is he's introduced by coming out of a coffin in a mine. Like the angels like called the saint. Like,
see, and this is another, again, I have so many gripes with this thing. I'm sorry, guys, but this is another gripe of mine. Is this story, the way they portrayed it, doesn't make sense. Like, buy another horse, dude. Steal another horse. This is a guy who's killed many, many, many people. You think he's gonna flinch if he steals someone's horse to save his daughter and his wife? You know, like, his horse being killed doesn't make sense to why he didn't get home in time. Now, in the comic, it's very well laid out. You know, like, they beat him and leave him out in the desert and stuff, and like, he has no way of getting back. There's no way to get another horse. He has to walk. And that keeps him from being able to get back to his daughter, and his his family dies. And then he says, but like, why didn't you just steal a horse? It was a whole town of horses. Like, if it was really your daughter, if it was my daughter.
Why did it even go back? I don't even understand that part.
Well, because he was getting the medicine.
No.
Okay, well, what I took from it, from like the context given, was that he was like Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven, where he has a family. He's no longer a cold-blooded killer. He's probably taken a code of honor, like, I'm no longer going to kill or do any of this. And then he sees that the fucking shit happening in the back of the saloon, that kind of triggers him. And then like the dude with the horse, he's just like, I'm not gonna fight back. This is like, I'm doing this for my family. I'm just gonna get back to my family. Like, he wouldn't steal a horse and he can't afford to buy one because he just spent all his money on that the medicine. And then when he comes home and his family has died, that was like, you're like, okay, all right, that's the last straw. That's like, the code is done. I'm going to murder these fucking people for what they did to me and my family.
Yeah, I get
that's what I took away from it, was that he went from, he used to be a fucking rootin' tootin', like outlaw, got a family, settled down, gave up that life, and then this catalyst fucking triggered him back into that mode of just like, all right, I've lost everything. I no longer have this code.
Yeah, I get that whole bit. It was just, there was something in between where he waited till the next morning, right? He was in the bar, he had a drink, waited till the next morning, got the medicine, on his horse, headed home, walked past all those, bodies that were hanging from the tree, and then that stage wagon comes up. He's like, hey, mister, we're headed to, whatever town, right? And then all of a sudden, it just propels him to turn around and just give up on his family. I mean, it overrided anything any feelings he had for his family. Yeah.
Let me explain. Because in the comic, and this is better explained in the comic book, the character himself is susceptible only to one thing: people who just outright love him and open their heart to him, regardless of his tough and callous exterior, right? So what you don't know, and I don't think this is going to be a big spoiler or anything, his wife is actually Indian. And the thing is that when he goes and he comes up on these people slaughtering Indians, he kills all of them, and this girl's left. And she's like, take me with you. And he's like, fuck you, I'm out. And he starts going on his horse, and she follows behind him. She follows him for miles and miles and miles and miles, and she just doesn't give up on him. She stays with him. She sees this man that saved her and the good in him, even though he did all this killing. And finally, when she collapses behind him, he picks her up and takes her with. Now, they ended up getting married, and they end up having a kid, and then the kid gets sick, and this is where we come into. So the scene that you're seeing is, why did he turn around? Well, the reason he turned around is because this kid, in every scene, no matter what, was kind and open-hearted to him.
Okay.
It didn't matter that he said this isn't paradise, that he, rejected his father. What he saw in the saloon was a young boy's mother being raped in front of him. And then he saw, as he was leaving, this kid heading to Ratwater, hitting into the same exact situation. This kid is going to have his mother raped right in front of him. But you know what? This kid was nothing but good to me, nothing but opened his heart to me. I got to go back. And that makes more sense when you know his relationship with his wife in the comic book.
Yeah.
So when he goes back, he's thinking he's going to walk in on this kid with his mom getting raped in front of him, but he walks in on them selling pelts, selling, Indian, pelts basically. And he's like, hey, mister, how you doing? And in that moment, he's like, man, I came back here for nothing. They're just selling pelts. Like, they're not raping his mom at all. And that's when he gets his ass beat,
Right.
So it doesn't make much sense that he would just turn around and, you would think the priority's there. He knows how important it is to get back to his daughter and his wife. That's priority number one. Why would he turn around? The only answer is in the comic books, and I think that's a big problem with me too. One, I think it's a huge plot hole that he just didn't steal another horse. If it was my daughter and she was dying somewhere and I had only a limited amount of time to get back to her with this medicine, fuck you, fuck your horse, fuck all the laws of mankind. I'm stealing this goddamn horse and I'm riding full throttle. But you know what? He doesn't. He walks back. It just does it a big plot hole for me. Do you feel like that's a plot hole, like Diction, in that storyline? Do you feel like that's a plot? Because I feel like that's just such a big plot hole. The only
I
other
don't
thing you
know.
can say, the only
I
other thing
was-
that
I don't know
bothered
if
me
it's
was
cool. Mhm.
the only thing that bothered me was how casually he just kind of trotted to town and trotted back. But
Yeah.
but that's fine because that's hell. He knows he's in hell. He doesn't have to gallop forward. He knows what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So him just trotting to town makes sense because he's like, I'm just on another loop of this. Here we go. I trot to town. This happens. I come back. I'm just replaying. This is hell. So that made sense to me. I'm okay with him not going full gallop because that didn't make sense to me at first either. Like, why isn't he like, let's go, horse?
Oh, I thought it was just because maybe it's hot, and I mean the horse, getting tired, fatigued, or whatever. It just wanted to preserve the horse more than anything else. So that didn't catch me at all.
Really, it didn't ever like you didn't ever go like, why isn't he hurrying? But it made sense when he's in hell that he wasn't hurrying.
Yeah, that's true. So
and there's another thing too, like with his wife being Indian, the Indians being strung up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The reason it's more hellacious for him is because he's very sensitive about Indian people. He doesn't buy into the racism and the killing of Indians and stuff like that. He doesn't buy into that. So that's an even bigger indication of where he's at, that they have this thing just blaring in his face. Look at all these dead Indians. You hate this.
Yeah. Does he have a special weapon? Like the whole thing at the end where he just blows a hole in that demon or angel or whatever she is. I'm assuming she died whenever he blew a hole in her this time. And normally she just come back, right? We saw that scene in the hotel where it's over and over and over again. So he has a magical weapon that just kills angels or what?
Well, did you notice that when the angel came back, he didn't have his partner? When he got off the bus, he was sitting alone.
Yeah.
Oh,
his partner got shot.
That's true.
There are different characteristics that the Santa Killers has, and I think that this will be revealed later. But yes, one of the characteristics is if you get shot, you're dead. It doesn't matter if he hits you in the leg. Doesn't matter if he hits you in the arm.
Oh, really?
Doesn't matter where you get hit. You're fucking dead, and you're never coming back, angel or otherwise, God or otherwise. Like he has certain characteristics. There's only one person who survived a shot from the Santa Killers, and it's Cassidy. And later, Garth Ennis said we were still trying to figure out the Santa Killer's character, and that was a technical mistake in the comic.
Oh, really?
So he's got things about him that are true. He is, supernaturally strong, supernaturally fast. He never misses. He draws quick, and then if he hits you, he kills you.
Dude.
Well, and that's and that's the reason. Like in the saloon, when he's like, "All right, I'm ready to kill," it's like boom, 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 boom. I mean, that is an unrealistic amount of killing.
Yeah,
his guns never run out of bullets, and they don't because that's part of his power. Yeah, man, he really is. He's the Saint.
Die.
He's the Saint of killers. He's a badass. That's what he does, man. And so when he's just like gunning people down in instant, just pat, that's him. You're seeing like his true power there, which is, like you guys said, an incredible scene. Except for I didn't like and this is just nitpicky, but I didn't like the woman at the end. It's like she got there and staged herself and then was like, boom. And I noticed that. It was like, that looked kind of weird, but everything else looked great. And the body's smoking and stuff like that, at the end.
Yeah.
He's a pretty crazy thing, but in the comic, it's actually a lot more interesting. It's God is basically on his side in the comic to seek his revenge. And the reason he's able to kill all these people and survive and do all this crazy stuff is because he's kind of got God's favor. And there's a scene in the comic when he goes to Ratwater to get the revenge, the same scene that we saw. But in getting the revenge, he's killing all the bad people. So he's not missing a shot. He's on fire. Boom. And this is not in hell. This is in real, 1832, whatever. He's shooting these people. And the reason he dies, the reason he loses is because the last guy who is the preacher and the evil preacher guy, he grabs one of the bar winches and is like, I've got her, stop. And he goes, boom, and shoots the waitress right in the head without hesitation. And it's the first time he takes an innocent life. And as soon as he does that, they overwhelm him, and they kill him. And so it's different in the show as it is in the comic, because in the show he just goes in there and starts blasting people away. But the only reason he loses in the comic is because in his haste to get revenge and in his whatever, he takes an innocent life. And as soon as that's done, that's when they overwhelm him. That's when they kill him.
It's his invincibility shield goes down, basically. Right,
basically,
cool.
yeah, that's exactly it. And it's different, obviously, in the show, and I'm okay with it for the most part. But the Saint of Killers is a badass. He is beyond badass.
So what's the deal with Genesis? What's the deal with Jesse not exploding? What's the deal with Jesse
that's
not
never in the comic.
Okay.
Yeah, that was added in, and I love the running gag of Tom Cruise exploding.
Yeah,
and like you see like the news of his memorial a couple episodes later and shit. Like it's just like a constant running gag.
About that.
Yeah, I mean, like it was. I think that was a good addition. Like that Genesis didn't just like straight go for the first person that it wanted to embed itself in. It was testing out different like religious figures to figure out which one it wanted to stick with, and it chose Jesse.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool touch. I like that.
And if you don't know this, Seth Rogen is really good friends with Tom Cruise. So that's why they added it in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is. He's really good friends with him. So it'd be like if I made a show and like Diction, like I'm good friends with Diction. I was like, hey man, by the way, I'm gonna blow you up in my show. It's gonna be great. Like that's kind of the tongue-in-cheek thing that happens. So because Tom Cruise is seen as a figure of Scientology, Genesis goes to him and blows him up, and it's kind of just laughing kind of nod
that he has
to
a
his
sense
buddy.
of humor about himself.
Yeah, and he does. I mean, you see that in Tropic Thunder, right? I think Tom Cruise does have a good sense of humor about himself. So
yeah.
So that's why the Tom Cruise thing. But then again, that never happened in the comics. The comic basically starts out with Genesis goes inside Jesse, the whole church explodes in fire, and everyone dies. Okay, we start the comic. Like all the people that you know and you're getting to know and everything, they're dead within the first like 2 pages of the comic.
But now they're dead anyway. I love that like the first episode ended with that shot of the vent opening in the ground. And then you saw the vent a couple times more and you didn't know what it was until you started to get an inkling when you see the dude in the shit factory or whatever, and you're like, oh shit. Like I thought that was like a very good Breaking Bad kind of like like red herring, just like, oh, what's that little thing? What's that gonna do in the end of the season? And it was a good payoff.
The girl fell into that pit thing too. I'm assuming that has something to do with it too.
Which girl?
One of the girls from the whorehouse. When they were doing the paintball thing, and then she fell.
Oh
into the thing.
yeah.
That has to do with it, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was obviously there was a portion of ground that was weak because of all the underground shit that they have,
sinkholes or whatever. Yeah,
sinkholes basically running the town. I almost looked it up. It's funny that you mentioned that, Diction, because I noticed those little like and I was like, what is that? Like, is that a thing in Texas? You see that occasionally. I'm like, what? I almost got on Google and was like, I told myself to go look it up. I just never did. And it's interesting. Is that a thing? Like in real, like if we were to
I'm pretty sure that's from Cannon's cow farm. That's the manure that the cows are producing, and they use it to power the town.
Yeah, but is that in our world? In our world, if you go to Texas, are there places where you have like a little thing that
there might be?
I know that it's got to be.
You can use pig shit and cow shit to like as like fuel, fossil fuel.
Oh yeah, I just wonder if we went to Texas, if we could see these. Like if you could actually go there and occasionally it would pop open.
But I've driven through Lubbock and northwest Texas. There are a lot of cow
town
farms
run by cow shit,
and it smells like ass.
Town run by cow shit. Just throwing it out there, but
like ass.
You literally just got put on some list somewhere. like, thanks for taking one for us there.
Okay, turning cow poo into power is profitable for U.S. farm. Okay, so there are farms out there that use it.
Nice. It's the future
power
of America.
1 million homes, apparently. You can power. Oh my God, this guy's got his hand in a bucket of shit. I should stop using people forever. Fuck.
Yeah, I saw those, and I feel like I've seen those before.
Oh my
God. Those little canister things. I feel like I've seen them before, but
home
generators where you put the shit in and it generates electricity for you.
Well,
that was in the. You ever read the sequel to Forrest Gump, Gump and Co? The book. No. Yeah, he in the book, he and his son like start a cat, like they own a pig farm, and they use the pig shit to like generate power for the little town that's nearby. And it's almost the exact same thing as Preacher. Eventually it overloads and it explodes shit all over the town because of Forrest's incompetence, of course.
I just
Awesome.
imagine some dude like you're taking a shit in a toilet and flushing it, and some old Texan's like, "You're flushing away good power, boy." Like, you could turn that into a profit. You know, like,
It's like
I power my whole house by shitting in my, whatever.
Oh my God.
My house is run by 100% shit. My own shit.
It's like, son, the Tesla car's out of power. Can you go take a shit in the garage and power it back up?
Go take a shit in the exhaust.
Exactly.
Not the exhaust, but
Oh my
the
God.
tank, the shit tank. I got to get to
Holy crap.
Walmart back.
All right. Well, why don't we start taking some questions? We don't have any callers yet, but so maybe some
Get
shy
in the
folks
Discord.
tonight.
Call in.
Yes, get in the Discord, guys. Here, I'll link it to you
Give
guys
us-
again.
Give us some juicy comments, questions.
Yeah. If not, if you have any questions in Twitch chat, just go ahead and type them too. We'll take them.
Yeah, you can. If it's a little bit, some people don't like to get in front of people and talk on a talk show,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
if you're not that kind of person, but you have opinions or there are things that you liked, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
even have to be a
that
question.
only Ellohime will be the one judging you.
I'm just throwing it out there, but I
Super
have been
cordial.
like the one that's been like everything shit. Today.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah, I think I will enjoy season 2 beyond a lot more than season 1. I totally agree with you. I think they had to do what they had to do in order to get funding for the next show, or for the next season. So I get it, and I think they probably will slow down a lot. But overall, season 1 was a huge disappointment to me. I think it's like either they nailed the casting or they fucked it up. It's like they either nailed the character or they fucked it up. Like there was never any like middle ground ever.
But like, okay, that gripes aside, were you entertained by it? Did it keep your attention till the very end?
Only certain parts.
Okay.
Again, I felt like I was trudging through it because of the show. Like if we didn't have this show, I wouldn't have continued watching. I think at some point I would have been like, all right, I'm fucking done with this shit. And you know what it would have been? You know what would have broke that straw is the Eugene scene, not when he sends him to hell, but in the next scene when he's just like, well, all right, I'll just still have my church service. Who cares that I just sent this kid to hell? That's when I go, that's not Jesse Custer. I can't really get behind this. And I probably would have bowed out. I stuck with it because of the show. Now, there are definitely certain scenes that are very entertaining. I think the beginning of the show really pulls you in. With a guy, I'm the prophet. Boom! And then blood everywhere and the open your holes to Jesus thing. I thought all that stuff, I was really, there were definitely certain scenes. It was, for me, it was a bad adaptation punctuated by stellar scenes. It has really good scenes,
that's
like
a good...
saying a killer scene, stuff like that. But overall, I mean, if I had to like rate it, I would say it's probably a 3 or 4 out of 10 for me, personally. I know I'm being I understand that I have a bias. I understand that I have a lot of love for this thing. This is a comic that shaped my life. Like really, it really did. Preacher was the first thing that I ever read that really challenged me, especially because I grew up Christian. It was very sacrilegious. It was the first thing I read where nothing was sacred. They could write about pedophiles, zoophile. They could write about violence, vampires, God, like in different light and in a way that I've never seen it before. So I am this is something that's really close to home. So I'm much more critical than the average person, and I realize that. So.
Yeah, I think for me too, because I think Diction's complete opposite of us. But for me too, I would say if we're rating out of 10, it was probably like a 5 for me, and it was pretty similar too. I think there were certain things that they executed really, really well, but the general scope of it, maybe just because it's season 1, it just it didn't feel like there was purpose to some of the plot, and that's what kind of got me a little confused towards the end of it. And maybe the future season, now they have more time and they can develop it, next 3 seasons or whatnot, it might be completely different. So we'll probably have to revisit Preacher at some point. But for me, it was probably the least out of everything that we've seen so far, just didn't hold my attention quite as much as the other series and movies that we've seen.
Okay, so we got a question from Green Tea. It says, You were saying that in the comics, the town was all dead in the first couple of pages. Does this mean that you think this series was almost a prequel and as such suffered from the what is it, the
Jar Jar syndrome? What is the Jaja syndrome?
Jaja syndrome? I don't know what that even means.
I don't know what that is either. What is that?
Can you repeat the question?
What's Jaja syndrome?
No, I don't really see it as a prequel. There's too much that happens in the first season that happens in the comic book. Like, it's too much of an overlap to view it as a prequel. There's things that we will probably get into in season 2 and 3. You still don't know who killed his dad, you know, as far as the series or the TV series is concerned. There are things about the town and about Jesse's upbringing that I think are going to be revealed in the coming seasons that I think are going to make a lot more sense of things. I totally agree with Diction when he said that. But no, I don't view it as a prequel. I view it as Hollywood needed to do this in order to get funding for more seasons. And this was a nice compact way of doing it, because even in the show, you see how much they jump around, you know, to Russia, to South America, to Texas, Anvil. Then you go to Houston. Then you're here. You're in an airplane. You know, like, and in the comic itself, they travel a ton. Like, they're all over the world. I mean, Jesse, Tulip, and Cassidy are like the trio, man. They are on the road all the time. So for budget purposes, I think it was easier just to keep it centralized in one place and do a lot of shooting in one location.
That's a good point.
So yeah, so I think that for the budget and for what it was, I think that they were constricted probably a lot by budget and time, so they couldn't really do all the traveling that they wanted to do. Yeah. So that's my take on it.
All right, Diction, what's your rating on the whole thing?
I give it like a solid 7 out of 10.
Okay.
And I think that people who just saw the series, like just the TV series, I think it's probably enjoyable for most people. It's always that case. If I read the book, it's not the same kind of thing. But I would encourage you guys to pick up Preacher, and I would encourage you guys to read that comic. Now, let me be clear: anything you see in the show, times that by like 50. And that's what the comic book is. So if you're weak stomach, like, it gets like snuff filmish at certain points. And I don't want to reveal anything, but you really just understand what you're getting into. But I really, really suggest that you pick up the comic. The artwork is still amazing. It's provocative. There is nowhere they don't go, and it only gets weirder. It only gets weirder. Cannibalism, BDSM, just everything. Fucking armadillos. Like, nothing is sacred in that. I'm not joking.
What?
There's a character in the comic that all he does is fuck everything he can. He fucks Jesse's birthday cake when he turns 12. Like, it's rough. And if you're religious, I would be wary if you pick it up, because you are going to flip your fucking lid at some shit. So yeah, but it's awesome. If you read through it and get to the end, holy fuck, what a ride. I wish I could take it again. It's one of those things where you get done and you're like, you know, like you finish like the Walking Dead Telltale game, you're like, man, I can never play that again for the first time. You know, like, it's that kind of feeling. So it takes a very special kind of person. And this is why you'll see on this podcast, I'm calling it a podcast. You'll see on the show why I am so for the gritty and the dark and all that stuff. I constantly talk about it, how I'm drawn to that. Preacher gave me that appreciation. So, anywho.
All right. Should we talk next week? Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say, should we talk about next week? But if you have another point on Preacher, go for it.
The last thing I want to talk about that I feel like we really did, I mean, I guess we touched on a little bit, was Cassidy. Like I don't feel like we really I guess there's not really, I don't know what to say about Cassidy yet.
Yeah.
I guess there's not really much, which seems weird because Cassidy's such a huge character. Yeah. I guess there's really not much to say about it, which makes me feel weird, though. I feel like it's weird.
You got nothing to complain about this time.
No, I agree. I think the casting choice was awesome. I just feel like Cassie's such a big character, and we didn't really talk about him. But it's like, what's there really to say? He's pretty
the vampire. He's super he gets drunk and smokes cigarettes and
But at the same time,
kills the angels several times over.
But he in a way, Cassidy is kind of a moral compass for him too, which is that's
oddly
a very ironic thing, right, for him to be that. And he purposely tries not to kill people, right? Kill people to suck their blood.
People that are bad people. He doesn't harm innocent people. He still has a weird a moral code for that.
Right. So
or if they're trying to kill him, if they're like vampire hunters, of course he's gonna fucking murder the shit out of them.
Yeah, so what happens if he doesn't heal? Like, what
he can? Okay, I don't. So in the comics, he can.
Does they turn feral? Like if he doesn't fully heal up?
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. He does get very feral. There are times in the comic that he goes a long time without blood. In the show, he only heals when he drinks blood. In the comic, he can heal at any time, but he gets weaker if he doesn't drink. So instead of regenerating super fast, which he still can most of the time. I mean, there's a scene where he's being tortured and he's getting shot in the leg. It heals up. He shoots him again in the leg. Heals up. He shoots him again in the leg. All within a conversation. It's really that kind of fast regeneration. It's like Wolverine style regeneration. But the longer he goes without it, the less he regenerates. So even on half empty or whatever, he can still regenerate quite quickly, and he does. And he can go to very far lengths. Like he can be in the sun for a long time and he will burn, but it'll take a bit still. It'll take a bit to kill Cassidy. Cassidy, and the way they depict vampires is very resilient, extremely resilient, which is why he's one of the only people who survived a shot from the Santa Killers. So it's a little bit different, it's a little bit different playing field, for the show to the comic. But not too different, not too different. And Cassidy's character and the depth of his character is something that I'm excited to see in the show in season 2. And the comic is spectacular. Cassidy is an insanely well-developed, well-rounded, tragic figure that still has like the giggles and stuff of somebody who's still just out there to have fun, who's seen it all, done every drug, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. One last thing I want to.
They seem to introduce the love triangle too. Is there some kind of love triangle?
I was just about to bring that. That's what I was just going to. I hated the fact that him and Tulip had sex in the first season, without him knowing who she was, because in the comic it's really a point of contention. This love triangle that develops, and he fully is aware of what is happening when certain things go down, and it's very different. I just didn't like how she just fucked him. It was weird. It was weird to me that they just fucked. And I know that it's probably more interesting because it builds that weird love triangle dynamic really early. And you still don't know how Jesse's going to react because he still doesn't know by the end of season 1, right? He's still in the dark about that. So when that does get revealed, how's it going to go down? I think that's what they're trying to draw out.
Right.
But in the comic, it's different, and it's a very important part of the story. So I can't, again, it's one of those weird places where I'm kind of pulled back on spoiler alert, where I can't really, delve in. Yeah. But I was really disappointed that they had sex. It seems sort of wanton and just kind of out of nowhere. So,
right. Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we talk about next week then? Diction, you want to lead us into what we're going to be doing for next week?
We are talking Luke Cage, the new Netflix series based on the comic from Marvel. You might remember him from Jessica Jones. He had a pretty big role in that series, actually, the Netflix series, and he's got his own standalone series. I'm already on episode 4, and I'm not going to say anything.
I'm on 2.
That's for next week.
Yeah.
I'm on 0.
Oh,
well, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty excited about this. I kind of go back and forth about superhero stuff. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I'm hoping this is the one that I like because I would hate to go 2 weeks in a row where I'm like, this is shit. But I'm excited for it. And not only that, but I'm excited for our special guest as well.
Oh, yeah, we have a guest too. We have a guest.
Mr. Bikeman is going to be joining us. If you guys know Bikeman, he's going to be joining us next week as a special guest. To come in and commentate, and you may even see him in front of the camera.
Oh, he's never shown himself?
He does.
It's the big reveal.
It's not like he's never shown himself. He has, but for the most part, he's been consistent about not using a camera on his broadcast.
Oh wow, okay.
So you will probably get to see Bikeman. He's really excited to come on and talk about it, and I'm excited to have him. And it'll be our very first guest. So that's gonna be super cool. So I know there's a lot of Bikeman fans out there. But yeah, he's shown himself on Drop Frames. Yeah, but I think that's about the only.
He's not a stranger to showing himself. He just doesn't do it on his own stream, basically.
Yeah. So I'm excited to have him. I can't wait to watch Luke Cage, and catch up with everybody next week, and bash the shit out of it and hate everything. So.
And that's the thing. And for those of you again tuning in for the first time, that's what we do on this show. So at the end of every show, we give you guys at least a preview or homework assignment, which is to go and watch Luke Cage in this particular instance, so that you guys can come back next week and discuss it with us. Hopefully join us on the call. That'd be awesome. But if not, just come and hang out and just Twitch chat, just discuss whatever we discuss. Luke Cage's again, of course. So that's the premise of the show. If you enjoy it, that's awesome. Just keep coming back every week.
5 stars on
5 stars.
Here goes our 5-star on iTunes.
Oh, man.
Also, something to note as well. Next week it will not be on my.
Yeah. We'll be moving
it will
around.
be on Eat My Diction's channel.
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing it over there. We're just kind of trying new things. Again, this is a new show, so we're just trying new things. And so we're gonna be on Eat My Diction's channel, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. But yeah, if you guys are new to the show, please take the time to get on Netflix and watch the series. Come join us next week. We try to pick things that are easily accessible. So if you've got Netflix, Netflix, you're good to go. So it's all on there. So it shouldn't be too tough. Yeah.
All right. Why don't we wrap up and do some shout outs? Diction, where can people find you?
Hi, I'm EatMyDiction1. You can find me at twitch.tv/EatMyDiction1 or Diction.live, which just redirects to my Twitch channel. I'll be live in like an hour and a half with some H1Z1.
Diction.live? How'd you get that domain? I didn't even know there was a live.
I actually talked to a company, emailed all of us at New Game Plus, was like, hey, we can get you these URLs for free for 2 years. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll do that.
That's cool.
Looks nice in a tweet,
Yeah. Awesome. Ello?
Hey guys. This is, most of the people in the chat, you guys know the spiel. I am a variety streamer. I actually am just back from a little bit of a hiatus. So I streamed yesterday. I streamed this morning. We did this stream. Tomorrow I'm going to stream. You guys pretty much got me till the end of the year, and even beyond that. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of this ugly mug. So I hope you guys come and join me tomorrow. I don't even know what I'm playing tomorrow. I had planned to play Mafia 3 for the rest of the week, but fuck that game.
Rage quit.
Fuck yeah, I rage quit that shit. So I don't even know what we're going to do, but I stream about 4 a.m. in the morning Eastern time. You guys are more than welcome to come join me. If you guys are interested in any of my social media stuff, follow me on Twitter, Curse, Steam Group. You guys can find all that information with the mods and on my channel. So, and Chanmanv, tell us about yourself.
Oh, on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, everything that ends in Chanmanv. Just all my channels are Chanmanv, so you can follow me, subscribe to me there. I do all kinds of different shows. If you like Hearthstone and Overwatch, definitely check out some of the show VODs on my YouTube channel, because you can watch them all there. You can also check out this show as well as all the other shows on iTunes and on Google Android or Google Podcast, Google Music, as well as some of the other podcast apps like Stitcher and Pocket Casts. So definitely look for us there and leave us those 5-star reviews, guys, so that people can find us on the, even if you don't. Even if you hate us,
go in there and give us an honest review, okay?
No, Ello, shut up, dude. No honest reviews. Unless they're good.
Okay, go in there, and if you're not going to give us 5 stars, don't rate us.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, you can find us there, because I know a lot of people enjoy listening these days, listening to shows like this on their way to work and whatnot. So yeah, definitely check it out there. But that's going to be it, guys, for spoiler alerts this week. So for Eat My Diction, Ellohime, and myself, Chanmanv, we'll see you next time. Later. Peace. Peace.